Hey everybody, I'm Kirti Sharma and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a movie that was recently released on Netflix. It's called AK versus AK. It stars Anil Kapoor, Anurag Kashyap, and is directed by Vikramaditya Motwane. And to talk about this movie, I'm going to invite two very special guests. They're my brother and sister. And we're just going to talk about this movie and whether we liked it or not. So enjoy. Okay, guys, you ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, AK versus AK stars Anil Kapoor and Anurag Kashyap, who are the AKs. Okay, and the basic premise is that, Anil Kapoor wants to be in this movie with him, and Anurag Kashyap is like, dude, your time is gone, and, you're too old, you need to play different roles. And Anil Kapoor is like, okay, forget you. I don't need you. You suck as a director anyways. None of your movies do well, right? So they go from there, and then basically Anurag Kashyap kidnaps Anil Kapoor's daughter, Sonam Kapoor, and the whole thing is about him trying to find her. And I think he had 24 hours, right? Was it 24 hours?
Yeah.
So in 24 hours, everything was recorded. He can't get help from any cops. He can't get involved in any of that. And they're basically going to follow him through on this journey. And on the camera is Yogita Birani. She's the camera woman who's following them around. I think she's an assistant director to Anurag Kashyap in the movie. Okay. So on a count of three, thumbs up or thumbs down to how you felt about the movie. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 2? Me too.
Thumbs up. I like it.
Okay, me too. And Priya always has to be the contrarian.
I was the one who's not going to like it.
If she doesn't like it, it's a good movie. That's
exactly.
Kind of
that's why you don't go to Priya for recommendations. Okay, so who wants to go first? So Abhi, what did you like the most about the movie? What was your standout?
So I like that.
Wait. So before we get started, Abhi doesn't watch Indian movies that much. He'll watch it here and there with a recommendation or anything. Me and Priya are the ones that are Bollywood fanatics. We watch everything almost. I'm more into the realism and all that stuff. And my sister likes the singing and dancing and all that stuff. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I love that stuff. But I'm always trying to push different things onto her and she's always resisting. Okay, so with that piece of background, let's go back to Abhi. So what did you think?
What a lovely introduction.
Yeah.
So I thought it was great because it was different, right?
Exactly.
It wasn't the same love story triangle every other movies. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't an actual Bollywood movie. It's just an Indian film. But it was really cool because it was so different than what you normally expect. And just flat out, right, when their dialogue is completely different than what I expected, right, when I turned on the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing an Indian film do something that's out of the mold from what you'd kind of expect was something that really stood out to me, and I was fully on board with that.
Yeah, and that's why it was so great that it was on Netflix, so they didn't have to worry. I mean, I don't know if it was going to ever release. Maybe it would have released in the theaters, if the pandemic wasn't going on. But the great thing about Netflix is that they don't have to worry about all that. They don't have to worry about the box office numbers. They don't have to worry about how many people are coming to the theaters. And, Netflix doesn't care about all that, right? So and the great thing is that it's worldwide, so anyone can watch it, right? And we even have you to watch it, so
right, you get me to watch it, it's a good movie.
So when I watched it, I put a post on Facebook saying, oh, it's great and this is awesome and blah 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 blah. And so I guess my dad watched it a day or two after I had posted, and my brother or Abhi happened to be there, and he just walked in on the movie and was like, oh, okay, this looks cool, and we sat down. So.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. And the thing that I liked the most about it is that this kind of opens, I think, the envelope for other types of directors and movies to do something like this, which I would be fully on board with. It's that's why I want to give it a better rating, is because it's something that's different that I think opens the door up to other types of films that are a little bit more out of the box.
Yeah, and the fact it was meta. It was Anil Kapoor and Anurag Kashyap are playing themselves, right? But they're not playing themselves. They're really playing what our perception is about them. Anil Kapoor is supposed to be this rich, this famous, this superstar in the Indian film industry, out of over the top, always looking at the camera, always looking at the mirror, like I'm the best, and then he really played into that. And then Anurag Kashyap, I don't think you've seen his other movies or his production or anything like that. Like he's one of the best directors, in my opinion, in India, because his movies are out there. He's more real. So like if you saw the movie, the director Vikramaditya Motwane, he's the same. They're like partners, they do collabs a lot. But yeah, with Anurag Kashyap, he's known to be like, I'm going to tell you how it is. I don't care who you are. If I think you're dumb, and I don't fall into this Bollywood trap. I'm going to do my own thing, whether you like it or not. So he's kind of like that personality. And if you watch the movie, you can tell, he's like laying into it, right? So that was really cool about it. Okay, now Priya, why didn't you like it? You didn't like it at all? Like at all?
No, I mean, it wasn't bad. And I'm all for like new kinds of movies, contrary to Dee thinking I like movies dancing around trees and all of that. I like different things.
The 90s Bollywood.
I mean, that's old school, but I like different kind of movie, like Urta Punjab and stuff. That was realistic. It wasn't dancing
He
around.
was a producer on Urta Punjab.
I actually do like a movie that he's made. This one, I don't know. Partly, I think maybe because of all the cussing in the movie. Like it was like every 2 seconds they were like bleep this, bleep that.
You know me, right?
That's what
I guess we're not used to the Hindi cussing.
And it's different when you like cuss in English, but when you're cussing in Hindi, it's just kind of, I don't know. It sounds
so the cussing made you not like it?
It was just, I don't know. I just thought it was over. And I know the point was to exaggerate and like play out the stereotype of what people think. I just thought
what a Bollywood movie is.
Yeah, so I just thought it was just like too much. I don't know. It just did not sit well with me. And I was watching with Abhishek because you did post on Facebook over the holidays. And so I was watching with him. I was like, oh, Dee said it was good. Let's watch it. And then the whole time I was like, are we seriously watching this? Why are we watching this?
Like that's so ridiculous. I remember.
I think Anil Kapoor did really good. Yeah, like as an acting, they did well.
They both were really good in it.
Did I like the movie? No, it just was not.
So what I liked, I think the acting was fun. They weren't taking themselves seriously. They were making fun of each other. Like if you watch the, the dialogues, they're making fun of their own like persona, and they're also making fun of each other. And I always like people who can laugh at themselves. And I felt like they were doing that the whole time, What did you feel about the fact that we got to see the glimpse of his house? Okay. Anil Kapoor's house is amazing. Like I feel like if we ever move to India, I need a house like that. Someone do that for me. Someone make it work.
I mean, I like the fact that obviously they showed parts of his life, like his brother and then his children. So that part was cool.
That was awesome. It felt like, didn't the way the camera just followed them throughout make you feel like you were a part of the movie? Like you were right with them?
That part I did like with the girl, like basically recording the movie that's happening live. That part was cool. I like their office in the house, like the glass or whatever.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, they were like,
I think the fight that they had, them rolling around the floor.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was hilarious. So, what did you guys think about the whole notion? Like, for him, this is real. His daughter is kidnapped. He has to find her, or something can happen to her. What did you think about the fact that no one was taking him seriously? Like, like the cops when he went to the police station, and then when he was in the crowd, like they told him to get on stage and start dancing. Like, can you imagine like if your daughter or family member is kidnapped and you're trying to get help and you're trying to figure out where she is or what happened to her. And then people are like, oh, but dance. Do your famous song, like, can you imagine?
But that's where it comes into like people think that they're always going to be that famous Bollywood person.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, he's supposed to do his, Ram Lakhan step or whatever, and he's supposed to dance around. So when you do go to the cops saying, oh, my daughter's kidnapped, they're kind of like, what are you talking about?
And then Anurag Kashyap was like, oh, what a performance. Awesome job.
And they buy into it because they're like, oh, wow, he's such a great actor.
Yeah. I just feel like, we're always like, oh, we want to be rich. We want to be famous. We want everyone to know us. We want to be a celebrity. And then you realize that no matter what happens in your life, you're having a really bad day, something crazy happens in your family, you have to have that mask on, because people are going to still see you as an entity, not as a person. Like they feel like they have ownership over you, right? So even when you don't feel like it, you have to cater to the crowd. right?
Right. And I think they kind of had to do that to build on the whole meta thing, right? Like if the police in the movie were like, oh yeah, we'll totally take this seriously, right? You're not going to build up that sort of suspense in the audience.
Yeah.
So it kind of like ties into what he probably has experienced in his life when he's walking around, right, with just like ordinary day to day. But then on top of that, you just get frustrated as like the viewer being like, oh my God, just listen to him. His daughter's, kidnapped and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was hilarious. Oh, going back to his house thing, the best part is when he goes down the stairs and it's his birthday. Yeah. And they're like, happy birthday. He just walks past them.
Didn't you, like I always, like when I see Anil Kapoor, like even outside of this movie, like how he is with his kids, I feel like that's how we are with dad. Didn't you, like when Harshvardan Kapoor was at the end of the stairs and he's like talking to Anil Kapoor, I felt like that was Abhi. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, your cake, it's your birthday. So I was like, that could have totally been, that's like that's how we are, the same way basically with dad. What did you feel about Harshvardan Kapoor? I thought he was amazing in this movie. Like his whole like long monologue he had. When they're fighting and they're running out of time and he's just sitting there talking about, hey man, get me in your next movie. I love your work and this is awesome and blah, blah, blah. How did you feel about that? I was like, that was really good. And if you noticed Anil Kapoor's expression, he's just staring at him like, hurry up. Like, what the hell are you doing? Hello.
I don't know if I have anything else to add.
I don't have anything to add to that. I think that part was kind of funny because he was kind of like, hurry it up, man. Like, and a part of that reminds me of like you when you talk sometimes, and we're just like, wow. Oh my God,
really?
Like fast forward to the ending, like
a little bit. So part of that was like, okay, that's a little bit familiar, but yeah, I mean, it was funny. The timing of it was just funny. So yeah, that part was a little bit of comedic relief.
I think they did a good job of like sprinkling that throughout the movie.
Yeah,
because obviously it's like a suspense thriller, but they do a good job of sprinkling in that like comic relief.
So what did you feel about the story overall? Like the storyline? Did you like it or not like it? Or
I mean, I don't know how to describe why I didn't like really care for it. Did I think it was a cool concept? Yes. The ending, that part, I feel like they prolonged that, drawn it out a little bit too much at the end where they're like, oh my God, he's like, it's not me, it's not my, like that really end part. So that part kind of, I was like, okay, let's kind of, come on. And
I think they did that because the whole time Anurag Kashyap was like full of himself. He was like in control. He was being the badass. And then he's realizing, oh wait, what's going on? Like, this is not me anymore, right? And then Anil Kapoor is still acting in it because he doesn't want him to know that I already knew what you were doing and you're really in my movie. This is not your movie anymore. And that Yogita, the camera woman, she was in on it from the get-go. Right. So did you guys see that coming?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty like. Yeah, it was well done. I think they could have done a better job. I didn't need them to explain scene by scene how they did everything. I feel like that ruins the imagination. I don't think they need to break down every single. Oh, he met with the camera person. Then he talked about his kids about what to do and show up here and run him over and blah blah blah. Like all that seemed very just. I think
they were showing like the behind the scenes kind of a thing, like if they were doing a realistic like movie like in real time. So then they went back and showed you, how movies always have behind the scene takes or whatever, the process. So I think they were playing into that a little bit. Like this was the movie. Now watch how we got there,
That's fair. I think it would have been a nice twist had the real like mastermind been the camera person. And they were kind of like playing both parties. I think that would have been a much more interesting film, though. Like, I think just what they did was a good step in the right direction.
Did you think from the get-go that Anil Kapoor was the one who started doing everything or was in control of everything? Or did you start thinking midway through that, wait, it's not Anurag, it's Yogita who's actually controlling everything?
Yeah, it was about the part where he was like, "Oh, we have to go find I think the daughter was supposed to be in like his parents' home or something like that." That's when I was like, "Okay, this is probably where you should figure out where Anil Kapoor is probably the mastermind here."
Yeah.
But I think had it been like, it's probably not a great thing to say, but had it been an American movie, I think I would have expected more of the like videographer person to be some sort of villain, and I think I just didn't jump that far enough when I was watching the film the first time, where I was like, okay, this is probably just Anil Kapoor because that's an
But the thing is,
thing.
I think in a way she was, right? She used Anurag Kashyap as a means to become the director herself. So like at the end of the movie, when the award show was going on, what did you guys think those awards were about? Did you think it was the movie that Anil Kapoor promised to do with her later on? Or did you think it was about the movie that he was just in? Does that make sense?
Yeah, is it like the movie that he had planned, or is it the movie that they ended up filming?
Exactly. So like, right. Because I think at the end he told her like, oh yeah, I'll definitely work in a movie of yours. So then they go cut to an award scene. So did you think that this was another movie that they did? Or was he getting awarded for the kidnapping movie that he was just a part of?
I like to think it's the latter. I think that way they're just building on that sort of
exactly
that they had. And it's kind of like a Inception thing, right? With the spinning top. It's like, well, what is it actually?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like a nice hint at something like that.
Yeah, I think some people were confused about it. I felt like it was kind of obvious. This whole thing was a movie. She was directing it. So that ended up being her debut directorial venture. So she got awarded for that. And he ended up having the performance of his life. Well, duh, because he thought it was, actually, no. In the movie, you think that he doesn't know, right? But he really knows. So he was acting the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, it just goes to show like he's a great actor, right? Regardless of what the situation is. And it's really, is it like, does the director make the film? Does the actor make the film? Which is what their argument was the entire time, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think? Is it the director who makes the film or the actor?
Probably, I think the acting, because like you can have a great product and a great plan, but if the acting isn't great, then like obviously you need both. But if I had to choose one, I'd rather have great actors do a horrible plot than a great plot that's spoiled by terrible acting.
See, I think a good director can make people act. Like that's their job, to steer the whole ship.
Right, but like you've seen Disney movies, right? Like the acting's terrible. So even if the film's great, like it's not.
Well, that's the directing, right?
Well, okay, Lizzie McGuire movie had a great director. The acting was terrible.
Yeah, Priya, what were you saying?
The talent of the actor carries it. So yeah, like you can have a good person and direct it and run the shots and guide you, but you also have to have the skill, the talent.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think they both need each other, you know, like, and it has to work.
Because had they not had Anil Kapoor and picked another actor that, okay, I'm not going to give names, right, but a different actor or lower.
Actually, I think this movie was supposed to happen with like a few years. Like it wasn't just like thought of like yesterday, you know. I think initially when this story was coming together, it wasn't going to be AK versus AK. I think that Shahid Kapoor was going to be in the movie, but for whatever reason that didn't happen.
I think that would have been a good one too, though. I think
Anil Kapoor. See, I love Shahid Kapoor too, but since I was a little kid, and Priya, you know this, like since I was a kid, I love Anil Kapoor because of the whole Madhuri and Anil thing. I love them. Right?
Classic.
Since I was like 2, okay? I love these people.
No, but I think that would have been a cool twist on the movie. Like obviously we saw Anil Kapoor do it, but I think if Shahid Kapoor was gonna do the movie, I think he would have done it justice. He's done different roles, and I think he could have pulled it off.
So has Anil Kapoor.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
And I didn't know, like, okay, so one day I wake up as, 6 for Samir and stuff like that. So I got on Twitter and I'm just like looking, and all of a sudden I see Anurag Kashyap's tweet, and he's like bashing Anil Kapoor, right? Like, oh my God, who does he think he is? And he's like a yesteryear's actor and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why is he going after Anil Kapoor? I was like, well, oh my God, because I follow both, right? So then I see that Anil Kapoor replied to him, and he was also like bashing him. I never thought Anil Kapoor would ever do that, you know? And then I was like, oh my God, they're just going at it, because they had done a few. So I started reading the feed, you know? So then I went out and did whatever, not out, but like I got off Twitter and did whatever. And then a couple hours later, I got back on Twitter and they're still going at it. And I'm like, and I even liked a tweet that Anil Kapoor has sent. I was like, okay, whatever, that's good. So I liked it. And I was like, oh man, should I like what Anurag Kashyap said too? Because I agree with that too, you know? Like the whole nepotism thing, you know, getting his kids into movies, like that was a big thing it's a big thing everywhere. Like it happens in every industry, but for some reason, like people have made it a big deal about like the Indian movies is like it happens everywhere. Like business people don't they get their children to come on board and all that stuff, you know, like family businesses and stuff like that. But anyways, so all of that was going on. And so then I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So I went on to Google and then I searched Anil Kapoor and Anurag Kashyap. And then it started coming, like people are freaking out, like, oh my God, they're really fighting. And then it comes out that that was a that was a stunt, like promotional stunt that Netflix was doing. So like that was hilarious. And they also did a roast. Like Netflix India.
That's hilarious.
That was also hilarious. So I think the whole concept of the movie was good. The whole way they promoted it was really good. You know, it was different. And I think it was really interesting to watch during the pandemic. Actually, I would have watched it anyways if it wasn't the pandemic going on because I like them both. But I just feel like it was a good break from everything. And I even like tweeted them all. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys need to make this like a sequel thing because I'm like totally in. Like what happens to Anurag Kashyap who's in jail? Like, how does he get back? You know, like in the movie. Right.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. I don't know how they could, like, because now you know, right? So it has to be.
Yeah. I mean,
really,
obviously, they're not going to do a sequel, but I think it would have been cool.
Yeah. It was cool, like, coming into this movie without any prior knowledge whatsoever. Because, like, I was just literally that morning, I was scrolling on, I think it was like Facebook. And I don't even ever do that. So I just saw your post about something. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Scroll down. And then I walked downstairs and like dad had turned on the movie. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the movie she was talking about. Well, I was like, well, whatever, I'll just watch it. And then I like did not look at my phone for the next like whatever hour and a half, 2 hours. And it was really like engaging as an audience person. Whereas like for most Indian movies, you don't really need to pay attention, right? You can get the gist and
that was back in the day. Things are changing now.
Slowly, but like for the most part, films haven't changed all that much, right? Yeah. But this one was something I think you kind of had to pay attention to because there was like this whole countdown scenario the entire time. So I was like, oh God.
And it was just fun. I felt like it was engaging, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so what did dad think? I never asked him. Did he like it?
He liked it. No, he thought it was interesting. He was laughing at parts too. I'm like, okay, so he's also like, the first thing I noticed was like them cussing, and I was like, what is happening? I like turned to dad, and I'm like, you want to watch this movie?
Yeah, because dad can be weird about that. He's like a weird. Like when
because I heard that, and I'm like, what are we watching? And he's like, oh yeah, this is this film, blah 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 blah. And then I connected the two things that you were talking about in your post. Yeah. But he liked it, and he was dying at like his interactions with his son.
Yeah, it was so hilarious
the entire time.
And really when he's texting his son under the table, trying to get him to realize that something is up, and then he looks at the phone and he's like, "Dad, why are you texting me?"
The best part is he really liked the happy birthday thing, where he just walks by, and then there was some other part where dad was just dying laughing. I just don't remember. When they were doing the fight scene in the house, he was, oh God, that was hilarious. And
then Anurag Kashyap, who's like with that, you know, his asthmatic pump the whole time because did you know that they shot in like real locations? Like people didn't know that it was a movie going on. Like with cameras.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So they were like those people in that crowd, like were legit. And then, you know, like everything like that was happening. Obviously some of the taxi drivers, they were real, you know, like actors and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was like they went on set, like a real location, not like a set location, you know, and like the whole fact, you know, how he was like falling on the railroad station and rolling on the streets. And, you know, it was really cool to see Anil Kapoor do that. Cause usually, you know, he's larger than life, like, right. You know, on a set and stuff like that. I think
the coolest thing was like in his montages and stuff that they had in the movie is like him taking selfies with the people. He's like, hey, you know, have you seen this person XYZ? And they're like trying to take a picture with him. Yeah. That was like really, really sad to see because it's frustrating, but it was hilarious in the moment too. Cause it's like people don't care what he's saying. It's like, oh my God, you know, it's enough where we have to take pictures with him. So I thought that was a fun, like nice touch that they kept in the movie too.
Yeah. So should I throw some Anurag Kashyap movies and shows your way now since you liked it?
Honestly, probably, because if it's something like out of the ordinary.
Did you see Udta Punjab?
Yeah, you saw Udta Punjab with us. What?
I wasn't with you guys.
So you need to watch Udta Punjab.
Okay, you need to watch Udta Punjab. I mean, it was like
That was not a dancing around.
I went to the theaters.
I've heard about it. I remember you guys talked about it.
I think Dad, me, and Tino went to the theaters to see that movie, and Dad was like, he didn't like it.
Yeah, he did not.
Because that was the cussing. I think that was the first time that it was so much in your face, and he was like, this, that, and I was like, Dad, they're druggies. Like, they're gonna cuss. They're not gonna do a jog run, Like, that's not what they're doing. So yeah, but I really like that. And then, I keep harping on you to watch Sacred Games. Anurag Kashyap and Vikramaditya Motwane, they are the ones that directed that. Okay. So yeah, you should definitely give that a watch.
No, I will. Because I'm all for this guy. His directing's pretty cool. Or maybe it's the acting.
Well, he acted, he's a director, but he only acted in this movie. And actually, I think he did the writing and dialogues for him as well. And then his business partner, Vikramaditya Motwane, he's the one who directed it.
Got it. Yeah. But he did pretty good as an actor too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But he has acted in other movies too, but he doesn't like to act. I think he just did it because I saw an interview and he was like, he came to me, he was like, you're doing this. And he was like, okay.
Fair enough. The part that so I didn't know if the guy actually had asthma or not, but the fact that he kept stopping to take the inhaler, I was like, dude, he's just trying to slow Anil Kapoor down. This is so frustrating. I'm like, dude, push him aside and go.
Yeah. Oh man, what did you look at that DVD collection? That was Anurag's house too. That was his DVD collection. Did you see that?
Oh, that's legit his actual house?
Yeah, that was his DVD collection. He's known for his DVD collection and his shoes.
That's crazy. Yeah. That was the backdrop of where the kidnap.
That was where that happened. Yeah.
Got it.
The only reason I know that is because I saw it in an interview. Yeah.
You're going to have to open up an IMDB trivia for all.
I know.
Fun fact, did you know those are all his DVDs? He has 3,450 DVDs.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so next time we all end up watching the same movie or show or whatever, then I'll get you guys to do this again.
You're literally just going to have to forward me a movie because I'm not seeking any of them out.
Well, I gave you some web series. Oh, well, Urta Punjab. There you go.
No, well, that other movie we saw at, I think it was Auntie's house. I don't remember. Shoot, I don't remember what it was called. It was one of those thinking movies that you don't know if he's blind.
Andhadhun.
Yeah. I love that movie.
That movie was awesome. That was awesome.
I really like that movie. That movie
maybe we'll do a little roundabout about Andhadhun.
I'll have to rewatch. I don't even think I saw the whole thing because we turned it on in the middle.
So I was sitting there watching it.
And you watched part of it. So watch the whole thing. And then I know. I remember he walked into the middle of it and he just sat there looking oh, wait, what happened?
And I was like, oh, wait, this is cool. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So thanks for doing this, guys. Maybe when the pandemic is done, then you guys can come to my house. We can do this. This is the first time we Zoomed. So, but it felt like a FaceTime call.
It did.
Yeah.
It was 85% you talking, which is pretty normal.
Wow.
And then you and I split the other 50%.
And here I thought I was doing a good job of asking you so Abhi, blah, 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 blah. So
I probably talk 5% of this whole thing.
But that's normal too. You just sit there.
Well, to be fair, you had the worst opinion of all of us, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so I thought it was going to be more
then I have something to say.
She was more serious about disliking the movie on my Facebook post than she was in here. I guess she didn't want to go out and bash and become 100% negative.
No, I mean, it wasn't I didn't.
It was it was so predictable and it was dumb. And I was like, what is going on? And I was like, whoa. So that's why I was like, okay, all three of us have to get on because she does not like the movie and you and me liked the movie.
I liked the fact that it was different. Would I watch it again? No.
I would.
I would. I think it had a good rewatch value.
Next time we're all together, we'll turn it on.
Someone's going to be on her phone the whole time.
I was. When I was watching it.
Are you serious?
I was literally on my phone and scrolling and I'd be like, what is this? On my phone and scrolling. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, wow. So that was our talk. As you can see, two of us really liked AK versus AK, and my sister, she didn't enjoy it at all. So take from it what you want, and we'll hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave some comments. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Did you think it was innovative? Did you think it was a drag? Share your thoughts. Let me know. See ya.